UT. I'm the current president of Nepalese Student Association. The Longhorn chapter of NSA was formed as a social and cultural group, a way to bring the small population of Nepali students on campus closer together. We never imagined what really solidified our bond, what really brought us together as family would be this tragic event. On Saturday, April 25th, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal and left her paralyzed. The aftershocks continued to shake the earth for days, destroying the balance in our world. Officially, over 5,000 lives have been confirmed lost. Experts fear the count could exceed well over 25,000. 10 million people have been affected. They have lost their properties and home, their friends and families, their sense of safety and security. Villages near the epicenter have been wiped off the map. The historic temples we prided ourselves over have been demolished. Throughout this tragedy, Nepal, her citizens, her friends, have been fighting. People are helping their fellow men overcome. But the sad truth is, at this moment, our country is crippled. Our aid is limited to the city. Little to no relief is reaching the villages. Tonight, we are gathered here to mourn those who have perished, to pray so that our wounds heal as quickly as possible. We are here because we have an unshakable belief that Nepal will rise. I want to thank everyone here for coming together to express their solidarity with us during our moment of need. Thank you to everyone who has contributed. We really appreciate everyone's help. Before we begin, I would like to thank and introduce our honored guests and faculty, Dr. Snehal Shingavi, Dr. Naveen Dahal, Dr. Janet Bogue, Mr. Shirish Pandey, and lastly, Dr. Heather Hinman, who we want to thank specially for her support and advice. Along with them, we have speakers from our own organization. At the end, we will light the candles and have a moment of silence. Our first guest speaker, Vipul Pandey, will help us set the national anthem down. I would like all the NSA family to come up the stage, and we will sing it together. Please come up. Should be in the middle.
सयौं थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सयौं थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आँचल वीरहरूका रगतले स्वतन्त्र र अटल ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तराई पहाड हिमाल अखण्ड यो प्यारो हाम्रो मातृभूमि नेपाल बहुल जाति भाषा धर्म संस्कृति छन् विशाल अग्रगामी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय नेपाल Thank you.
Our next speaker is Santona Pandey, and she just came from Nepal a few days ago, and we would like to hear her speak. Come on up, Santona. Hello.
Hello, I'm Santona. I came back from Nepal last night. I'm going to tell you what I experienced while I was in Nepal when the earthquake happened. I was in Nepal on 25th April, the day superquake happened, and it left Nepal devastated. I still cannot believe the disaster even after witnessing the destruction while I was in Nepal. It still feels like nightmare. Remembering about the destruction, when I remember the first earthquake, the first quake, I was about to start my lunch, and the chair started shaking. The chair started shaking, and then I was so scared. I rushed down from the fourth floor to save myself, but I realized that I could never make it to the first floor, and then I stayed back on the third floor, clinging to the door frame to save myself. We stayed there until the quake stopped, and when the earthquake stopped, we all gathered in the ground, in an open space, because the buildings were collapsing on top of each other, and people were dying. There were not enough manpower to save injured people trapped under the piles of rubble. I was outside for 30 hours before I went to airport, but everyone was outside. We were there. There was no food, there was no water, because all the shops were out of water, even for a girl like me coming from a good family, and my house was just right there, and there was no water to drink. We spent the night hungry and thirsty, and the fear of dying. There were thousands of people begging for their life, in need of food and water, and there was not enough people to help them. Everyone was scared of dying. People were scared. They couldn't go inside their house. They couldn't go to help people too. My life was saved. Yes, I am safe. My families are safe, but I'm not happy that I am safe. I'm alive, because thousands of people are dying, still dying, and they are in need of help. And for a poor country like Nepal, it's not enough. Whatever people are trying to do, it's not enough. So I urge you, everyone, to help Nepal, to help anything you can do. Means a lot to them. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Heather Henman. She's the associate professor who has done extensive work and research in Nepal. Here's Dr. Henman.
Thank you so much. I don't think I can put it more passionately and eloquently than our last speaker, who really experienced a disaster happening. But I think we have to think about the ways in which this is not over and won't be over for a long time. As it was described, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Nepal has long been waiting for the big quake, but nobody expected it to be this big, and there wasn't preparation for it. And the particular nature of this quake has meant that there has been no rest in the entire country since Saturday afternoon. The magnitude of the aftershocks has been in the 6 to 7 range for the last 4 days. No one slept, there's no water, and that's only in Kathmandu. That's all we've heard about yet. The Prime Minister of Nepal said today that 5,000 is our current death count, and he easily anticipates that doubling this week. But as I watch social media every day, every hour, reports come in of entire villages that are flattened. There's nothing left. I see before and after pictures, and I can't recognize towns that I've visited, places that I've been. They're gone. What I hear from families is that entire families are wiped out, and that hasn't made the news in the United States yet, because we can't reach those areas. People are walking out of Kathmandu to go to where their families live to try to see if anything's left there. So I think, like many of the members of the NSA, I've spent the last 4 days doing nothing but trying to find out information and trying to understand and trying to hold it together with not a tremendous amount of success. And the only thing that's made me feel better is, in fact, the students and the members of the NSA. And this is a really tragic story, but if I can tell a story of hope for a minute, I've seen the community of Nepalese students and people interested who care about this region come together in such a tremendous way over the past 4 days to come together to do something for this place we all care about. And I've seen the exact same thing happening in Nepal. I've seen neighborhoods come together and say, hey, we need a car to drive out to Sangku to see if we can rescue anybody. And they get halfway there and they walk the rest of the way. This is only 30 miles from Kathmandu, and it's a town that no longer exists. So one of the things I want to say, in addition to emphasizing the extent of this tragedy, is the extent of our capacity to do something about this. I was told today that an earthquake is a phenomenon. It doesn't have to be a disaster. And one of the things we're here to do is try to at least minimize the disaster that is a result of this phenomenon that is an earthquake. So I urge all of the people here to do everything they can to educate themselves and to give as much as they can to Nepal, to give intelligently, to do your research, and also to understand that the entire country of Nepal is mobilized right now. I am amazed at the youth groups that are coming together. They're sitting under tarps in their front lawn and assembling the little water they have left to dole out to neighborhoods. They're walking as far as they have to. They're collaborating. So I think I'm really honored to be here in front of the NSA and invited by the NSA, because it's the youth in America